little bit different. It's different for a couple of reasons. One is I wanted to explain again how all this began. This is the readings, the blogs, etc. The other is I have to do a project for Toastmasters, which is to create a blog. Well, I think I've been creating a blog for quite a while now. So just here's a recap of how all this began and why it's a blog. I actually posted as people and blogs onto YouTube. So I guess technically it is a blog. And occasionally I get visitors on, quote unquote, I get people on, interview them, talk to them about the readings. And I'm going to do more of that in the future, actually. I'm going to expand that. So there'll be more of that in the future. Hopefully that's a lot more interesting. It all began when the pandemic began, because all of a sudden, as you know, everybody was isolated. Everybody was cut off. They were in their homes. People weren't going anywhere to speak of. And our church, certainly, it went virtual from the beginning, just like probably almost every other church, spiritual center, religious institution around the world, probably. Anyway, so one of the other ministers, Reverend Lisa Ryan, and I decided that we were going to get online twice a day. She would do in the morning about 9:15. I'd come on about 5 o'clock in the evening. And initially, she picked some readings. I think she picked them from the Science of Mind textbook. I could be mistaken on. No, she didn't. She picked them from something else. And I decided that my basis was going to be reading from a magazine called the Science of Mind magazine. And this particular section was called the Daily Guides. Why? Because there's a reading for every day of the month. And I will be able to read it, peruse it, decide what I wanted to say about it. And most of the time, I've been in agreement with what's been written. Sometimes I've been in complete disagreement with it. Sometimes I've refused to read it because of the content and I've read something else instead. So, but that's the basic aim, was to keep in touch with our community. And it was to inform the community, but also because it goes out on social media, it goes out on, initially it just went out on Facebook. And now it goes out on other things. It goes out on YouTube, it goes out on, let me see, LinkedIn, it goes out on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Tumblr, and I probably missed something out, but so it goes out on a bunch. So the idea really is to give people some upliftment every day and to give them something to think about, and sometimes occasionally to challenge people, to offer them ideas that are challenging. So just like any other regular blog, it's to bring information, but it's also to challenge people as well and to help them. So initially it was just keep in touch, and then it kind of expanded from there. So that is the basis for this series of readings, for mine now and Reverend Lisa's every morning around about 9:15. She's a lot more regular than I am because she can regulate her day. 9:15 works out before she goes to work. 5 o'clock in the evening, when I first agreed to it during the pandemic, was fine, but then things started to get involved again, and 5 o'clock isn't always easy to obtain. Like tomorrow, I'm going to be mediating tomorrow afternoon. The mediation may or may not finish in time for me to be back here and do this podcast, broadcast, whatever it is, at 5 o'clock. So I don't want to bore you with any more information, but that is the background. A lot of you know it, some of you don't know it. So that's what it is. So it's really just to keep in touch, to inform, to challenge, and occasionally to bring on people, to have discussion points, and generally do what any kind of regular blog would do. So there you are. This is it. This is called Pursue Your Creative Passions. You know, we all, let me back off from that. A lot of us don't think that we're creative, but we are. You know, we're all creative in different ways. You know, my wife is creative in the way that she arranges her hats. She's creative in the way that she make some of her clothing. I am not a brilliant artist paint-wise, but I'm pretty good with the words. I can write poetry. And so we're all good in different ways. So if you start by thinking when it says pursue your passions, you don't have any. You do. You may not know what they are, but you do. You have some. C.S. Lewis, the famous English writer of the 20th century, said, "You're never too old to set another goal or dream a new dream. You are never too old to set another goal or dream a new dream." C.S. Lewis. And Ernest Holmes, who was the founder of Science of Mind, to which I belong, says, "Life is infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. Energy plus imagination. It is the invisible essence and substance of every visible form." And this is going back to what Plato said, Plato's idea of forms, that behind everything you see in this material universe, there is a spiritual perfection behind it. And this is talking about life, God, if you like, the all. Its nature is goodness, truth, wisdom, and beauty, as well as energy and imagination. And this is our writer. He says, she's an attorney, by the way, but it doesn't come out in her writing. She says, "I published my first book the year I turned 50. Now, more than a decade later, I have written a number of award-winning books and have published essays, articles, and poems." She's not bragging, she's just saying how she develops her creative passions, right? "And I continue to pursue my creative passions. Fortunately, the experiences that come with age can be useful, for artistic works focused on personal growth and spiritual wisdom. Our creative imaginations are limitless. We can paint, we can draw, we can drum, we can write, we can act, we can sing, photograph, sculpt, weave, knit, cook, garden, and so on, all in pursuit of and inspired by our creative impulses." Obviously, all of these don't apply to all of us, but some of them do, right? I'm sure some of you out there think, "I don't have anything, but I'll bet you can cook." Such creative activities don't have to become professional careers. They can simply be for our personal enjoyment. Now she says, "What passions and dreams do you wish to pursue?" Obviously, we're not expecting an answer right now. This is something to think about. Don't wait. Well, don't wait, she says. As Holmes says, life is creative energy that dwells within each of us. It's our divine gift. I would say start to think about it. Start to think about, and the place to start is, what do you like doing? What do you like doing? And it can be simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. What do you like doing? I mean, if you like talking to people, there's lots of opportunities there. Toastmasters, for example. You know, I'm a mediator. I have to talk to people. I have to listen to people. Our creative passions might be skills we want to pass along to the next generation. Maybe, maybe not. For instance, teaching a young person a favorite family recipe or showing children how to plant vegetables in the garden can be joyful activities they will remember years later. Perhaps we used to apply our talents in the service of our communities, volunteering, whether at nonprofits, places of worship, or schools. These are excellent ways to share our unique gifts with others. Theologian Mary Daly said, quote, "It is the creative potential itself in human beings that is the image of God. It is the creative potential itself within human beings that is the image of God." In other words, as we pursue our passions, we live our divinity, which is imbued with creative imagination. And as Ernest Holmes points out, its nature is goodness, truth, wisdom, and beauty. So there you have it. There is your challenge to do something creative. As I said, it can be something really simple. I remember one of the ladies at our church, aka spiritual center, decided to take those plastic bags you get in the stores and weave stuff out of them, weave blankets out of them. There's lots and lots of things you can do. And let's face it, these days, you can use AI to go out and research stuff. I mean, I think I use it an awful lot now. It's quite interesting, actually, that the number of searches using Google have gone down considerably in the last few months because AI has been adopted more and more. So I guess Google should be worried now about, hey, what's going to happen next? But that's another story. Every day we have affirmations. You could regard these as a closing prayer, if you like. So today, take this as a closing prayer. And this is a declaration. Remember, when Jesus prayed, he made declarations. He did not plead with the one he called the Father, God, the All. He actually declared things. My creative passions are a gift. My creative passions are a gift. I follow my passions with enthusiasm and joy. I follow my passions with enthusiasm and joy. Well, I hope you like this little bit different kind of deal today. You know, as time goes on, it will probably become more like a blog. As I said, I'm going to get more people on here discussing stuff with me because right now, basically, you hear my opinion. Occasionally, when I bring someone on, you hear their opinion. But in true blog fashion, I'm going to bring people on and I'm going to get their opinions because it's always good to have more than one opinion. Second opinion, even about things like this, it's always pretty good. So until next time, please take care of yourselves. Namaste.